Evening, everybody. United have actually just gone and won a game for the first time, it seems like, feels like about 15 years. And not only did we win a game, but it was a good performance. Really good performance. Like the sort of performance where you're a bit pissed off at them because you're thinking, Jesus, lads, where was this been? Where has this been all season? What did we see from United? Played in the opposition half. We hit them with one touch. I think Brentford allowed us to play as well, if we're going to be honest with ourselves. But we saw quality. We saw tempo. We saw players looking like they give a shit. And we talk about Juan matter. And that's what we are going to do. We're going to talk about Juan matter because I believe today, and he's probably not on his own in all honesty. I think Cavani's probably done his last game at Old Trafford. All being well, you would think Phil Jones has just played his last game at Old Trafford. Wouldn't surprise me if it was Ronaldo's last game at Old Trafford. But I think it's definitely Juan Matter's last game at Old Trafford. And I just wanted to sort of reflect on him as a player, him as a career, and what we think he's done and he's standing in the game. The guy should have been a Premier League legend. One of an absolute top tier legend, like a Zola, something like that, and a real Premier League all time great. And he was on course to do that, to be honest, when he joined from Chelsea. Probably didn't understand the level of shit that United were about to serve up for the next 9 years. We joined in the Christmas of David Moyes' first season, and unfortunately for him, has been part of like United's worst period in 30 plus years, more. But it's literally Juan Matter's the one change from weekend. But it wasn't the one change from weekend because the performance level, and it's not just about the opposition, the performance was sensational. And yeah, I'd actually do, thinking about Cavani coming on, Phil Jones coming on, Matic playing. I do think there's an element of sentimentality and an element of farewell for all of these lot. And I think if we look at Juan Mata, we signed him in what was meant to be his prime years, and he's never been shit for United, if we're being honest with ourselves. He's found himself not favoured by certain managers, not favoured this season. Do I still think Alanga has a ceiling? Absolutely. I mean, what are you saying? That he's got no ceiling. He's found himself not wanted by people. He immersed himself in Manchester, immersed himself in the culture of the football club. And if we'd have been successful while he was here, he would be a cult hero. But it's not going to go down like that. And I don't think it's necessarily the player's fault. And I think he's probably one of the few transfers that you would say was a success. Looking back on it for how long he was here and all the rest of that sort of stuff. He's scored some immense goals. He's had some sensational games. I mean, was it the offside goal? It was the offside goal. He even got him behind tonight. This season's been a weird one because clearly he could have played more than he did. For whatever reason, he didn't, but he clearly played more than he did. And I think tonight's shown that I hope he doesn't retire because he's evidently got a lot to give to the game still, and maybe not in the Premier League, certainly with the 38 games of Premier League tempo. Wouldn't imagine it suits him, but I could imagine him going back to Spain and fucking ripping it up, man. Really ripping it up. And I gotta say, I've met Juan 4 or 5 times, and every single time I've met him, he's been mega. And the funniest time I've mentioned a few times, being when I was on go over to Def, me, Adam. It was with us. Don't know if Joe was with us. I think it was me, Adam, and Will in Singapore. Absolutely steaming. Got a pair of sunglasses on inside just to sort of illustrate how drunk I am because it's not something I usually do. And I walk into a lift and I can just see like the silhouette of a figure in front of me. And I lift my sunglasses up. It's only one matter, innit? I went, oh shit. Oh no, he said, oh shit. I said, gives a fucking cuddle. Got a cuddle off him. And he was like, what you doing? How long you out for? You having a good trip? And then he invited us to training. And absolute ledge. Absolute ledge. And a few times met him in Manchester, met him in at the Player of the Year Awards, met him out and about doing different stuff, and every single time you meet him, he's absolutely sound. And I think he's got some family ties in Manchester that I'm hoping are gonna keep him around a little bit. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I think tonight's showing, if anyone's in the market for a player, certainly on a free, he was sensational. I mean, he instigated some serious one-touch passing. He instigated some excellent one-touch play, and 1 and 2 touch stuff. It's extremely simple, but sometimes those simple things are the hardest things to pull off in a game. People want to be safe. They want to take 2-3 touches, but the way he just, I mean, I can't believe it's just one player has made that much of a difference in the performance, but you all just seen it. You all just saw exactly what I just saw there, and that was a night and day performance. Hell of a footballer, hell of a bloke. Not the legacy he deserves at United because of the turbulations around the club, which have got fuck all to do with him. But yeah, serious technician. And I wish him all the best of luck with whatever remains of his football career. He's not exactly old. And for if he doesn't ever play, it's only 35 quid a month down at the paddock if you fancy it. And if he chooses to retire in and around Manchester, I wish him all the luck with the rest of his life with his family. But yeah, Caesar here saying Steve was Brentford. So fucking what? It was also Watford and it was also Everton, and we've absolutely stanked the place out. Don't fucking tell me who it was. It's irrelevant. United have not turned up. United have been fucking horrific. And I'm not going to apologise for gushing about how good he looked today. A lot of people saying Ronaldo looked emotional. I turned it off as soon as the game ended, so I've missed all of that. I've missed him saying anything to the camera, so someone's going to have to throw it in and let me know. Yeah, and I think Brentford won lost 1 in 7 or something like that. They're in better form than we are. Jesus Christ. A lot of farewells either way tonight. Some will be missed more than others, I'm sure. But yeah, that's that, I think. We made runs tonight. We did. We had the opportunity to, and we also made runs in behind, which was really nice. Steve, do I think that the players stepped up tonight because they didn't want to be hit with flying projectiles in the lap of honour? I don't think so. But I also can't put my finger on what it was without just saying, oh, Mata played well, so everyone else played well. That seems really reductionist. But do you know what I mean? Jorgen says, for me, Mata will always be a club legend just for the person that he is. Always an utter professional on and off the pitch. Remember him giving 1% of his salary. Yeah. Happy says, been watching your videos for a long time. Would I ever consider applying for a scout position in the club? No, because they clearly don't fucking listen. And you know what? Never mind. Adara says, I hate it was only the insert team argument. It was still professional football. Yeah. And honestly, look how bad we've been. Thoughts on Chelsea conceding 4 against Leeds? How's that? Does anyone at the club watch my videos? Yes. Ronaldo, our Ronaldo, bumped into someone at the weekend and was told that they all watch it. And to be fair, I know players watch it anyway. I've known different departments at United have watched it for 4 or 5 years. It's nothing new. Academy players are the ones that tell me that they watch it the most, but I know that all sorts of the players watch it. I don't know if any of the new ones watch it, for example. It's only the ones that I speak to. But I would guess, like, if I ever managed to clock a player, outside of like the club and something like that, I'll go over and say hello. No one goes, "Oh, I don't like who the fuck are you," kind of thing. So people still say, people go, "Oh, I watch your stuff." Quite surprising at times as well. Fucking Ed Woodward told me. I met Ed Woodward at the Player of the Year Awards, and I was thinking, right, try and get a fucking interview out of this fucker. Try and nail him on camera. And walked over with this whole speech in my head. I was like, "Hi Ed," and he was like, "I know who you are." I was like, "Fuck," completely fucking cut my legs out. I didn't know what to say. Abhinav Verma says, "Are United finally getting a player liaison?" Yeah, I've only been talking about that for about 2 years, but yes, I believe that they are. Ravi says, "Why Rio says Klopp and Guardiola need to leave for us to win the league." I don't think they have taken the league to a new level necessarily. No, I just think they're the very best around at the moment. Am I going to the Youth Cup on Wednesday? I can't. The missus is working, so I'll be watching on home. Joe says, "Have I heard that Gareth Bale may be joining United?" No. I know where he is going, and it ain't United. Christian says, "Other than the players out of contract, who do I think is going in the summer?" I don't think Bay is out of contract, is he? I think Bay could go. And there's a few more I think that could really go. Not the last game. It's the last home game is what I'm talking about. Hope to hear more military ones during the summer to get me at least through the dry period. All the best. Bale is not going to Inter Milan. He's coming back to the Premier League. Julio Leshy says, "When Mata first came, he was used right mid and didn't score until Arvin P got injured and he moved to centre mid with Wazza the striker. First 2 games, 3 goals. We got him in his prime at 26 and misused him. To be fair, he played off the right for Chelsea. No, that was where he played. But he's a good number 10. Thoughts on Ahmad's future? I think he's got to worry if he's not getting a game on loan in Scotland, to be honest. Should Garnacho get more minutes in the last games? 1,000%. Shriven says, "Here, Dortmund announced Schlotterbeck." Yep. I think there's more to him and United's seemingly reluctance to get into him, but I don't know. Everyone considered all leaving at the end of the season? I think so. We'll buy him for 80 million next summer. Wouldn't surprise me. Do I reckon Matic should stay? No. 20 million. 20 million euros it was for Schlotterbeck as well. Fucking madness. Is it mathematically possible to finish top 4? I think it is. I don't think we will, though. Let's be real. Ghana has to play over McTominay next season. Ghana's played a lot higher than where McTominay plays. I think he can do what McTominay's done, though, for sure. But I think it's going to be interesting where he comes out in the mixer of that one. Do I think we still attract top players? 1,000%. I can't remember who I was talking to the other day. I was talking about United's pull and stuff like that, and the person was like, "It's still Manchester United," and there's still a lot of people really want to play for Manchester. I can't remember. I've just remembered who I was talking to. Yeah, basically, it's still in most people's eyes. Barcelona and Real Madrid are just kind of out on their own. And for no matter how good, and I'll explain this to everyone a little bit, there is a long-term kind of pull for United, Real Madrid, and Barcelona. Some of the fresher money clubs, if you like, some of the younger sort of newly minted clubs, I would say your Chelsea, your City, your PSG, they don't quite have the same lore of those. And even though they're a completely different category, Liverpool are, by players, treated the same as City, PSG, Chelsea, etc. Now, the reason for that is quite logical when you hear about it and when you think about it, is you will see... if you're going to go to Liverpool right now, you're not taking them any further. And this was literally somebody in the game that told me this. With their own, let's say, involvement being on display here. Going right now to sign for City or Liverpool or PSG, is very, very difficult for that player to take the spotlight. For example, Manchester City are not getting an Aguero moment again. If you're going to go sign for City, you might win some stuff. But look at how many people at United have got like 4 or 5 titles that just don't really fucking move the needle. To go to one of these clubs, winning is very much a factor. But players, selfishly, they want that Aguero moment. They want that Solskjaer moment. They want that RVP moment. They want to be the guy that turned this club. It means their legacy is extra. If you join Manchester City and you win 6 of the 7 titles, or the 6th of 7 titles that they won in this era, who gives a fuck? Nobody. That's the difference. Money will always attract players. Always does. Legacy, history of the club, and the opportunity to do something spectacular will attract a little bit more. And luckily for United, we've got 2 of those things right in the pipeline for us at the moment. We can push on and win more and certainly turn this ship around. And we're also historically one of the biggest clubs in world football. So when people say, why would you sign for United over City? That's why. And it isn't always how much money it is. It's how much of an impact can I have as a player. If I go and win 1 title in a City team that's won 10, no one cares about me. If I go and deliver 2 or 1 to Manchester United, who've been starved of them. Now, Cantona won 4 at United. He won less than Rio. He won less than Gary Neville. He won less than Phil Neville. He won less than Nicky Butt. But the impact Cantona had of being that guy, Cantona could have won 1 in 93, bounced, and would still be the hero that he is. Because of what he won for us. But yeah. What am I saying? Our fullbacks are dreadful, says James. I don't necessarily disagree, my mate. Hostad says bigger hero than Robbo. For me, yes. Because my first game was 1990. Robson was old and reduced by that time. He's someone who watched in the 80s. He's going to want to punch me in the mouth for that, I'm sure. But we can only talk about our own experiences. Henry Winter, this from Andy, says, Henry Winter being a respectable journalist, if you can say that, but can't agree with his interview on the channel. Feels like everything that's wrong with the club. What didn't you agree with? How underrated was Brian McClare? Brian McClare, and I am actively trying to get him to be the third wheel on the brew with me and Jay, because I think there's a chance. Brian McClare, I believe, was the first person since George Best to score 30 goals for the club. Now, that's some fucking serious company. And then Brian McClare, after being a goal-scoring forward, ended up playing in midfield, just doing whatever the fuck he could. You know, a bit of a pressing forward, a bit of a utility forward at times. Character. Absolute character. Daniel says, once went to training as a kid and he proper sacked me off, so I never liked him. McClare, am I drunk? No, I'm not. Would Brian McClare train Paddock? I'm not sure he's an on-field coach anymore. He was an administrator and a director by the time he finished. It's one of those, isn't it? Am I worried by Palestri's loan? In what sense? Did I notice Maguire grinning and not applauding after the game today? I didn't, actually. What do I think about Van der Beek for next season? I think Donny definitely is going to get the opportunity. And I think there's a real chance that there's a lot of players that have been shit this season will get the opportunity next year. But they're going to have like 6 to 8 weeks where they actually need to turn it on. Shishir says, I think we struggled this year because Ollie's counter-attacking tactics in the last 3 years. Introduction of Ronaldo forced us to adapt and it's taken us 36 games. I think there's an element of truth to that. I think we were, last season we had a higher line than the preceding season. And I think bringing in Varane, Sancho, Ronaldo, they really forced our hand and the expectation. I mean, there was people declaring we were going to win the league. I'm pretty sure I said myself, I thought we were coming third, so I was still wrong. If United have brought these in and done well, I think we might have improved, but still finished going backwards. Like we might have improved where we are and still gone backwards. And okay, we did improve. We didn't show it on the pitch, but we definitely went backwards. I actually thought Chelsea had been fucking miles better than they've been this year. Does Williams come back and play? At the moment, I think he does, yeah. I think our fullback, the fucking bar is so low for our fullbacks that I'm debating just fucking turning up at Carrington in the summer myself. How much inside information do I share with us and how much do I have to keep to myself? I couldn't put a figure on it. I use a lot of what I get. Right, here's what I'll tell you. The stuff that I can do, I'll share with my Patreon group. And some stuff I'll get and I'll just use it to guide the videos that I do. So, for example, if I'd have done 500 videos talking about what Pochettino might do rather than what Ten Hag might do, I'd look a little silly right now, wouldn't I? And sometimes a lot of the players that I've done stuff on at the moment, I've got zero information on. These are players that I actually think would be a good fit for United. Like I wouldn't have done a Schlotterbeck one if I'd have known he was signing for Dortmund a couple of weeks later. But we watched him, we looked at these attributes and thought, this is a fucking good player. And he could do bits for us. So, who's the leak? At the moment, fucking everybody. Fucking everyone. And that's the problem. It's not who's the leak, it's who the fuck isn't leaking stuff. I think Ronaldo's probably the only one because no fucker talks to him. Who are the players that are making it a bad mood in the dressing room? In all honesty, I think Cristiano Ronaldo has upset the dressing room, but I don't give a fuck. It's the same dressing room that didn't want Ten Hag to come in, that didn't like Ralph was making them work late and making them drive home in the dark, oh bless. So fuck these idiots. If they're upset by the winning mentality that Cristiano Ronaldo exhibits, then be upset. Or, I don't know, fucking pull your socks up and work hard for once. Maybe you'll have half a career like he does. It's fucking ridiculous. Do I think I had a role in Dortmund getting Schlotterbeck? No, I don't. At all. What do I think about Charlie McNeil and can he do bits? I want to see Mengi and McNeil in the first team. That's a bit of Clayton, a bit of Drosden, and that's happy days. Biro says, I can't imagine what people mean with the dressing room. Is it a slang that's being used for how things go in the group, or is it really the dressing room? I think it's more for how things go in the group, but I think there's also a lot of stuff, and a lot of the conversations go on literally in the dressing room. Rishab says, I love Rashi. I know he was bad this season. How do I think he can turn this form around? I think he needs to relax when he's playing, to be honest. I thought against Chelsea, he just looked too much in his own head. Get away. And come back strong, I think. Abhinav says, you've been accused of doing PR for Glazers and scouting for Dortmund, but been paid by neither. Them checks better fucking start landing. Stevie wants a new motor. Chris says, Jimmy Garner, when do I think he'll be ready? Maybe first team cover for next season. I'd go with that. Yeah, I'd go with that. Give him half a dozen games off the bench and stuff like that and see what happens. Derek says, do I think the players will be in for a shock with how demanding Ten Hag is with his training? And I'm here for it. Yeah, yes, and I am also here for it as well. And I think that's why he's going to go with a lot of youngsters, because they'll go with it, whereas some won't. Alex says the Portuguese-Brazilian clicks have seriously paid off and shown their class and worth tonight. Couldn't necessarily argue with that. If I was offered a bigger managerial role and an amazing opportunity, would I walk away from Paddock? No, I haven't got the time. Paddock's just about the limit of where I can devote my time at the moment. And I think any higher profile than that would be too much. And it's already a fairly high profile for the level that it is. Because then every fucker makes us their cup final. I wonder if Dylan Levitt could come back to United and extend. Why not? If you're going to lose 10 players, you might as well give every fucker that's on the books a go, aren't you, over pre-season? What would I do with Ethan Laird? Try him out in pre-season. TC says matter for coach. Don't actually think that's a crazy shout, in all honesty. I think there's a good chance that could happen. Chouameni. There's been a lot of talk about him lately, hasn't there? I actually think that there's some possibility in that one, Is it really worth 100 million getting Rice? Not for me. Did I fix my boiler? No, I fucking didn't. Here's how it's rolling at the minute, folks, and it ain't good. At a minute, I've figured it out because Google's a thing. It's not like I'm just a fucking plumber, like. I think the diverter valve in my boiler's fucked, which means that it doesn't send the hot water to the hot tap when you need it, which means you're doing about a 3-minute max shower, which is fucking warp speed. And I like a long shower, me. I like to have a nice relaxing shower. So last couple of days, just been trying to fucking shower in about 3 seconds. But yeah, I've got British Gas coming on Wednesday to come and have a look at it. We should start Rio and Anton for Paddock next game. Anton's playing Masters football at the moment, and out of the two, he's the one I think has got more of a chance of ever pulling a shirt on for us. And Rio's back's fucked, so I don't think Rio's going to happen. Notch says my diverter valve died as well, should cost about 2 ton. Do you know what? I fucking paid like 400 quid last week, though. Janine was here, and the guy goes, I've replaced the part. Then he showed Janine a corroded pipe and said, I've changed that. And I phoned up today. I was like, what part did you change? And he was like, oh, it was a couple of parts. I feel like I've had my fucking pants down, ladies and gentlemen. So after whatever part it was the other day, and then is it a diverter valve? I was like, do you know what? The boiler's not brand new. It's about 8 or 9 years old. I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. Let's just get a new boiler in, I think. So I think when British Gas come, I'm going to say, give us a new fucking boiler, you slags. And I found out I didn't need to do that last week as well, because I've got British Gas Home Care. So I should have just fucking rang that one. Fuckers. Andy Petty says bootnecks live off cold showers. Yeah, but fuck that noise. I'm not a bootneck. Bo Rose says, do I sometimes hold back to discuss things on my own channel because we'll discuss it on 5 and with the other guys. No, not necessarily. No. Do I think there's any chance of Maguire and Wan-Bissaka leaving this summer? There's been a bit of conflicting reports, hasn't there, that it seems like Wan-Bissaka, they've said, can go, but I'm not sure who comes in for him. Maguire, I think the money that he would command, weirdly, is too much for anyone to want to do it. Nick says, what's going on with my surgery and what is it? I'm at Leicester Hospital tomorrow, and I believe my surgery is going to be on the 27th of May, which just so happens to be Paddock Player of the Year Awards night. There's a dozen or so tickets for fans if anyone would like to come. Email me and we'll sort a dozen of you or so coming to the awards if you want to come. Danny Shields says, do I think Jesse got snubbed for a goodbye at Old Trafford because he exposed as a leaker by Scholes? Not necessarily. I think you'd be amazed how often players and ex-players are talking to each other. It might be daily. That you got to remember, a lot of these lads are mentors, a lot of these lads are heroes, and a lot of them, are looking to, learn and get feedback from people that knows what the crack is. So, they chat daily. I think, what Scholes said wasn't trying to drop anyone in the shit, and I don't think it means Jesse's leaking. I think it was just a case of that, he's having a conversation and he's been open and honest with him about what's going on. Alex says, which player out of Rice, Tchouameni, Neves are closest to Matic as a 6? Probably Rice. I still would put him third in that list out of the 3, though, out of who to get. What was that one about Chong? What do I think will happen with Chong? Nothing. I don't think he's good enough. Pinch Weasel said Newcastle seem to have their heads screwed on, learned a lot of mistakes from others, won't be buying big names for the sake of it. That's worrying, isn't it? You kind of wanted them to just appoint some fucking idiot like Gary Cook and just try and sign Messi, and that's what you wanted. You don't want them to be good. Do I think getting Spence turns Ethan's head elsewhere? Probably. Which player do I think Ten Hag will improve the most? Do you mean player? I don't know. Too early to say. Thoughts on the centre-back pairing? I thought it was good, actually, today. Just watching Varane after how long I'd spent watching Maguire and obsessing about how little he moves his fucking head. It's good to see someone that knows how to check the shoulder for once. Newcastle should hire Judge and Woodward. Yeah, that's what they should do. What would my big progression plan be for Kobbie Mainoo? I think he goes out on loan and see what he can do. I've got a video coming out on him very soon, actually, so keep your eyes peeled for that one ahead of next week's final, obviously. What do I think happens to Raiola clients? Well, the talk was, wasn't it, that he was a one-man agency. But someone was sort of mentioning last week that he kind of had got all his stuff in order, and I think he'd been ill for a while, hadn't he? So they probably, with the value of what he was worth as an agent, they probably got all that stuff in order beforehand. It'd be interesting to see if everyone sticks around, though. Was the pull Raiola? I can't imagine the lawyers and the admin staff who work for him are the pull. But, you never know. There might be a bit of a free-for-all on some of his clients at the moment. Maya says, regarding Maguire, is it he just so much under the pressure that he forgets to scan? It's a basic thing. To do it the way he does it, it's not a forgetfulness, because you'd see him do it sometimes. But he just doesn't do it. Fucking lunatic. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. But cheers for tuning in. 5 things will be out in the morning. and I'll have a couple of videos going out over the next few days. Despite me being AFK a little bit, we've got some stuff pre-recorded for you. So take it easy. Make sure to subscribe if you are new, and if you want to see and follow how the operation goes and all that lot, I'm going to sort of document it on Patreon. I don't think it's worth putting on the main channel, but if you're interested in that kind of shit, then we'll be doing it on Patreon. So check it out. Enjoy the rest of your bank holiday, all hour and 20 minutes of it, and I'll catch you fuckers in the next one. Laters.